Hey, I just wanted to leave you a message real quick. You said that you're looking for the 5 love languages, but there are different versions of the book. Interesting. So the one that you want to look for is the one by Gary Chapman. Gary D. Chapman. It was a bestseller in 2004, and yeah, it's weird that there was like different versions of the same title. Anyway, get back to me if you'd like, and otherwise, if not, I'll see you tomorrow.
Alana, Jaylo.
Yes.
We just had an interesting experience.
Well, I had an interesting experience. I don't know.
I was the brunt of the pain that went on with this.
I think you're over-exaggerating.
Let's go from the beginning, babes.
Oh, jeez.
Last night, you placed a Walmart order.
Yes, I added to my order the night before, yes.
What happened next?
So, the window was supposed to be from 10 to 11, which was correct. I get a couple text messages, and the last text message I got was it said that it's supposed to arrive at 10:18. I asked Rick to go downstairs with me because I don't know if there's any bags.
We should say that you didn't get this message until around 10:30.
Right. I didn't. I found out. I didn't even get a call. I thought I heard my phone go off, but it was only the messages, and didn't get a call or anything like that. So we go downstairs, and there's no bags. There's no bags even outside of the door. But you said that you saw something, right?
When we were leaving your apartment, I saw this lady get off the elevator with her son, and they had groceries in their hands. So for a split second, I'm thinking maybe that's them, but they walked by your apartment.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm dragged downstairs.
I didn't drag him downstairs. I just wanted him to be there because, well, I mean, I didn't want to just, not go down there and just take bags and not know if they were mine. I don't know.
We're waiting for a while, and I kept saying, babe, you got that message late. Maybe you should check your computer. And you're like, no, I don't want to do that, okay? And I had to practically coerce you into coming back upstairs.
You didn't coerce me. You just said, I think maybe you should just go upstairs and just see the status. I'm like, oh, all right.
But I did repeat that statement a few times.
You didn't coerce me. If you coerced me, you would have been a lot more, forceful.
I think I wore you down. You realize that if you didn't go upstairs, you'd hear me complaining about the computer thing.
Because you complain a lot.
Half the time it makes sense.
Not half the time.
It's You're right. More like 80%.
It's more like.
I'd say 85%.
I would say. I would say
90. Okay, I'll go with you there. 90.
20%.
All right, 95.
No, 15%.
97. Okay, we'll go on that. Anyways, we come back up.
That's 20% to be exact.
We get back in the elevator. Mm-hmm. We ride upstairs. Lo and behold,
there they are.
There they are.
Yes. So I take in some of the bags.
Oh, this was really weird. Do you want to tell your side of the story, or do you want me to say it?
No, I'll tell my side of the story because you always want to, mix things up here.
Go ahead, babes. No need to.
You're gonna complain again.
No. Go ahead. I'm just processing this, babe.
You big plain old complainer.
Tell your side.
Okay.
Let's hear some propaganda. Go ahead, babes.
You don't want to start.
No. Go ahead.
I was already stressed out earlier.
Go ahead. Go ahead, babe.
You don't want Hurricane Jaylo erupting. No. I'm just kidding. I'm not an explosive person when I get angry, but I will say this. So I take some bags in there. I'm concentrating on the bags I just put on the counter, and I start to put stuff away, and the door closes, and then he says something like, oh, why don't we focus on getting the rest of the stuff in there? And I'm like, okay, fine. And I'm already upset because because I got the order late and I wasn't too sure if I want to, if there was anything missing or what have you. Turns out nothing was missing, and I got like an extra bottle of extra virgin olive oil.
My perspective, we see the groceries. I say, babe, I'm going to open the door and hold it open for you while you bring the groceries in. You say, okay. I open the door, and then you immediately hand me your basket that you were going to put the groceries in, and you said, could you put this away, okay?
Well, I didn't think it was, I thought about putting them in there, but I thought, well, I'm already getting them in already.
No, but why wouldn't you just tell me to put them behind the door? Instead you say, put it away. So I'm thinking, oh, that's really weird. We just agreed that I'd hold the door open while you get the groceries in. So I put it away, and then I come back out, and you only have 1 or 2 bags, and you're already unloading them. And in my mind, I'm thinking, it makes a lot more sense to bring everything in, and then...
And normally I would do that, but I was a little bit upset, and sometimes when you're upset, you're not really all the way focused, because you're just kind of focused on that one thing. But then but then not that long after, I conformed to what he said, and
because it was the correct thing to do. It was. In retrospect, aren't you glad you listened to me?
Only for that part, yeah.
What do you mean only for that part?
No, I'm just kidding.
If you would have not listened to me about coming back up here, we'd still be down there, babe.
Yeah, I understand that, but... Yeah.
You'd be like, where are my groceries at?
No. You were actually right about getting them in. But, normally I would do that, but once my mind was back on track, I think I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'll just get them in there. But everything was fine, and I will be tipping the person. And even though I didn't get a chance to meet the person, I guess they may have seen me. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
You were upset at first, excuse me, because you found 2 things of extra virgin olive oil, and you had ordered avocado oil as well. I
was a little bit upset because I thought, oh no, I wonder if this person replaced extra virgin or avocado oil with extra virgin olive oil. But then I thought, wait a minute, I did order extra virgin olive oil, but I don't remember ordering 2 of them. So I guess I may have ordered 2.
Oh.
But I do remember ordering extra virgin olive oil, and I was afraid that I didn't have the other oil. And I've never used avocado oil before, but I heard it's really good.
We're going to have fun tonight, babe.
Yes, we are.
What are we making?
We are making tostadas together for the first time.
I'm excited, babe.
I'm really excited. I have not had a tostada in literally years.
I want to get back to stress, but before we do... A friend of mine who I was talking to last night made a suggestion. He said, well, what if you guys recorded while you were cooking a meal so we could listen in on that process? Uh-huh. Now, we usually listen to music while we're cooking.
Yeah.
So that might be a bit difficult.
I don't know if we could do that, though, because...
Why not?
Well, I don't know. I think that, we do listen to music when we're cooking, and... We're kind of concentrating on cooking. I don't know. What do you think?
I think we could. I think we wouldn't be able to listen to music for copyright reasons.
Right.
But we could like start it and say, hey, this is going to be unusual. This won't be a typical conversation. The audio is going to be a little bit off because we're not going to be by the mic. Right. But this is what we're doing, and we're just going to experiment with it.
So what if you had music, like, how some people, when they make a cooking video... They put music in the background?
I think that is music that is in the public domain.
Oh, the public domain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know enough about copyright laws to know.
Yeah.
What they're using, to be honest.
Because some people do that in their videos, and I think it's kind of annoying when they don't talk.
I do too. It's just an idea, and I thought I might run it by you. I don't think we should necessarily do that tonight, but that might be fun tomorrow night or sometime in the near future.
Maybe in the near future. That would be, yeah. I've never made a cooking video before with anybody. So
it would just be a podcast, basically.
Yeah.
But we're not really having a conversation about anything except for the cooking, and we're a little bit further away, so the audio wouldn't be as good.
Okay.
But it might be interesting.
I don't know. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I had a fun experience coming over here, babe.
I bet you did.
Okay. I get up on time. I'm feeling good. I'm actually getting up a little bit early.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching a little bit of YouTube, having some fun, get my stuff together, leave my apartment, walking to the light rail station near Lloyd Center.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I come across a sidewalk that had this car on it.
Yeah. Was it parked?
It was running, but it didn't look like it was moving anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, well, what if I just go back to the end of this, to the corner, and go up and around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it was parked on a street that is like super, super long. So at first I cross the street because I'm thinking, I don't know about this, and I cross back, and I walk up, and eventually it starts to turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, you know how most streets, they'll go like immediately to the left? But this street is sort of like curving to the left slowly.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, this is confusing. I'm on a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
So I go back to where I was, the original corner, and I traverse until I find a traffic light. Crossover. So it adds like, I don't know, 15 to 20 more minutes to my time.
Right.
I get to the light rail station, look in my wallet. I don't see my ID.
Oh, no.
I think it's actually on my coffee table because I was moving stuff around my wallet because I got a new one recently.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure I know where it's at.
Okay, well...
And even if I don't, I can't really do much about it right now.
Well, you shouldn't be walking around without your ID, though.
I know, babe, but I just realized this morning.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This isn't like I've known about this for 5 years or anything.
It's not like you would normally lose your ID or anything.
No.
That's good.
And so I'm like freaked out for a second, but I got my bus pass, get on the bus, get my phone out because I know that I'm going to call you soon. I get on the light rail. Why did I say bus? Anyways.
I think we all know what you mean.
Okay. Get my phone out, and my backup piece of equipment that I had some movies on for us to watch, I couldn't find it.
Uh-oh.
So I start to freak out. I'm like, I'm going to rent these movies, and I already had a copy of them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can't not rent these movies for my Jaylo. Jaylo's going to be upset.
Well, I would be a little disappointed, but it wouldn't, like, ruin my day.
Oh, my God. It would make avocado oil seem like nothing. So I'm like, oh, this is going to cost me money. But I'm like, okay, I'm willing to do this for my Jaylo.
Okay.
I get off the light rail, walking towards your place, and about a block and a half from here, there is a tent set up that is kind of blocking the sidewalk. So I had to walk into the street to get around it. This isn't very fun as a blind person, but
right.
I digress.
Okay.
I finally get to your place at around 7:27.
Okay, yeah. Just about.
Get in. Am putting some stuff away, taking some stuff out rather, and I feel my piece of equipment. So we will be able to watch the movies tonight without me renting anything.
So the common theme for both of us was stress.
Right. And I want to get into this a little bit more.
Okay.
So there's the stress that we both faced this morning. But I've been thinking about my world recently, right? Because, I don't have to tell you, between COVID-19, it's an election year, a few other things that maybe I shouldn't get into here. It's been a pretty stressful time.
It's been stressful for everybody. Everybody, yeah.
What I've noticed recently is my world seems to be growing smaller, right? And what I mean by that is I love you, but I'm pretty much just hanging out with you right now.
Right.
And I love Deep Space Nine, but I'm watching a show that I've already seen before, which I usually don't revisit series that often. Right? So it does feel like my world is getting smaller. And it brings me to the question, am I a mentally strong person? Because instead of going out into the world, it feels like in some ways I'm retreating from it.
I kind of feel like that. Well, I think a lot of people may be feeling like they're retreating, right? Because we, in the summertime, we want to go walking. Some people go hiking, some people go tanning. they take trips to visit their families or wherever. And we're kind of, we're at a standstill and everybody's inside and people are saying, don't go anywhere for Labor Day weekend. And I'm like, I think, I mean, me personally, I don't know that you aren't a mentally strong person, but I can understand why you would be really stressed out. Because I know I am stressed out.
And I've noticed that I've been eating a lot worse since the pandemic started. Right.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. And being that, and I know that a lot of people are using delivery services, whether it's groceries or otherwise, and that's not always good too. Like, did you know that there are places that are delivering alcohol to people's houses?
I did. That's been going on since the shutdown.
I don't think it's a good idea. Alcohol, I mean, because I don't know what the percentage of people that are actually having problems with substance abuse with alcohol, but that just cannot be good. I mean, it's a time of year where we should be out in the sunshine and getting fresh air, and we've been kind of forced into the situation here, and we're all trying to get through this together in our in our places where we live across the country. But I would imagine that everybody is going through quite a bit of stress.
Yeah, like before this happened, it's not like every single day in my life I was moving forward, but over the last few years, the pattern seemed to be my life was getting better. Mm-hmm. I was happy. Not that I don't enjoy being with you, but you know what I mean. I was exercising a lot. My diet wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good. I was reading all the time. I had a lot of friends.
You still do.
I still do, but I don't see them in person anymore.
I do too, but it seems like people aren't really getting back to me, but I'm not giving up on that.
Right, like I still talk to my friends, but it's over the phone. It's not hanging out with them. It's not grabbing a meal or doing a workout with them.
Right, I know, yeah.
And it feels like this is my world in some ways getting smaller. And I'm going backwards instead of forward. And I would say it's once or twice a week I'll get really, really sad over things. It doesn't last forever.
Right.
But I do experience sadness in a way that I didn't before the pandemic started.
Yeah, it's really stressful. It is. I mean, I feel like I've taken several steps backward, and I was, there were some things that I wanted to do, and I won't get into that right now, but I've been wanting to do some things, and it's just right now the world is at a standstill. And it's if there were ever a time where we didn't want the time to stand still, it would be now, because especially here in America, where a lot of things are fast paced, we want to get on with our lives. And I do think that something will give, and it's not going to last forever, and we'll slowly get back into the swing of things. But I think I don't understand what the holdup is.
Yeah, and it feels like here, since we're in Portland, Oregon, mm-hmm. the main thing we could do socially is go to a protest.
And I do not want to do that.
We have different reasons. My reason is more of a health reason. And your reason is more you disagree with the protest.
Well, not just that. I have a big safety concern. I don't want to be hit with bottles. I don't want to have things thrown at my head. I don't want to get into the way of somebody with like a Molotov cocktail. Those things can be really, really fatal if you're not careful. I don't want to be shot for no reason. I mean, anything could happen. And the people that are doing it are not making things better. They're making things a lot worse.
Those are things I'm cautious about, but the other factor is that adds to this is I've gone to many protests before, but this was before COVID-19. And the language around coronavirus is that we should not be gathering in large crowds. So it's been confusing on a lot of different levels for me.
I'm not too worried about the virus as I am worried about somebody trying to hurt me.
Look, I'm not concerned about me getting the virus, but I don't want to spread it to anybody.
I'm not even concerned about spreading it either.
I know you're not, babe. But...
No, I'm not. I'm more concerned about, am I going to be pummeled in the streets or knocked down or whatever? Because, there are people that really should be arrested and they should be taken off of the streets, and it's not making anybody's lives better. And why? And I keep asking the question: why are they allowed to go out in the first place? And why are they not taking safety precautions if all the other law-abiding citizens are? I mean, this is a question that's been going on in my mind for a couple months now, and it's it's terrible because it's robbed us of a summer. Really, I mean, we now keep in mind. I think that we both of us have been trying to make the best of it, and I'm not saying it was a bad summer, but I think it could have been a lot better.
We could go around in circles about the protests all day.
Yeah.
And part of my problem is I have been doing that when I'm alone. I do think of it from every different angle, right? Mm-hmm. Because I believe that Black lives do matter. And I also believe it's not safe to be protesting right now. And that contradicts with my attitude of we should always question government. And then that contradicts with my thing of, yeah, but is this the right time? So I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but I want to compliment you about something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's the first time. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, my goodness. Well, don't get too used to it, babe.
Oh, okay.
When I sleep over.
Oh, do we have to talk about that?
Why not?
Well, could you phrase it a little differently until somebody's... Okay, when you visit...
When I visit...
Yes.
And I study the Bible with you until you're ready to sleep.
Actually, you never did that.
Yeah, your mom might be listening.
You never did that.
Your mom might be listening.
You have never done that. But go on.
When I sleep over...
Visit.
I usually stay up a little bit later than you do. And up until a few weeks ago, my practice would be, as soon as Alana goes to bed, I watch the news.
Mm-hmm.
You, I sense, get tired of waking up in the morning and hearing me complain about how I barely slept last night because I heard this news story.
Yeah.
So you've gotten into the habit of saying, don't watch any news, babe. I'm going to bed, but I don't want you to watch any news before going to bed.
Yeah, it's really not good for you.
So it's horrible for you, but it's a habit that has gotten out of control since this whole thing started.
Yeah.
But because you've done that, I'm not really watching the news at your place. So there's like 2 days a week where I'm not consuming it. And so that kind of gets me out of the pattern a little bit, which I think is good.
Well, it's good because I personally don't want to watch anything negative or anything depressing that would make me, be really, really scared or really sad. A lot of times I'll hear things during the day, but at night I don't want to think about it. Like I'll plug in my earphones and listen to some music or something else that will calm me or make me relax so I can go to sleep, because I don't want to think about that when I'm on my way to sleep.
No, babes. I'm going to start using that time to listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
So you don't think I have a weak mind then?
No, I don't. I know that you probably process things different than me, and that's okay because people's minds are different. People's way, the way that people think is different, and how they process things. I don't think you have a weak mind. I think it's possibly that you're just under a lot of stress and you don't know how to deal with it. And there's a lot of people going through that right now. I think I'm more frustrated than anything. Not so much stressed out, but I think I'm just frustrated because I want to do things. I want to get out. I want to visit people. I want to go on a walk with my Wick.
Yes.
I want to do some stuff with the athletic organization that we're a part of. because I want to see people again. You know, I don't want this to be the new normal to where people just don't want to be around each other, because we were made to be around each other. We weren't made to be alone, especially not in this time. I just think that, you know, people are naturally drawn to each other.
I might have said this before, but I'll say it again. Saying isolated goes against pretty much what every good psychologist will tell you to do for mental health. So
it's not good for you.
No, it's not.
No.
And I like to hug my friends. I'm a hugger now.
Yeah.
So when I see my friends, I just like, oh, let me embrace this person.
I love that. I love hugs. Yes. And we all need hugs right now, especially now.
Yeah. And I love hugging you. Mm-hmm. Right. But I'm missing that male energy. I feel deficient in it.
Yeah. I mean, I have a good friend that I haven't seen in a long time. I won't mention this person's name, but I reached out to her via email because that's how we communicate. But I would love to visit her again. And, you know, we were talking about, you know, possibly playing music together at nursing homes. And, I mean, she has become a friend to me. And I think I met her like about 3 years ago. And really knowledgeable about certain music and things like that. And she's become a friend, but I haven't been able to see her for a while. And I just like meeting new people.
Yeah.
I just like meeting new people when we go on our little athletic trips.
Joe Rogan said something once that really made an impact on me. Mm-hmm. He said, whenever you meet somebody, pretend that you might be meeting your next best friend. Mm. I've thought about that a lot.
Yeah, because you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Which brings me to something else. Mm-hmm. I've been putting a lot of mental energy into the co-op idea. Mm-hmm. How would that work? Would we all want to... So in case people don't know, Alana and I have had the idea of, what if we started a co-op, but with people that we're already close to?
That could be a good start.
Yeah, but let's talk about it a little bit more. Let's try to process this. Mm-hmm. Would we all have to be in the same apartment complex? Or could some people be in the neighborhood? I think it's... let me give you my take real quick. All right. I think it's better if a lot of us are in the same complex.
Absolutely.
But it wouldn't hurt to have people spread out who are close by.
That would be great. Like, I think that a good place to start would be... a bunch of people who know each other would be in the same complex. And maybe if there was like a complex across the street, somewhere that wasn't too far, then there would be other people. But I think a good place to start is like in the same complex.
And are you still thinking Portland?
Yes, I am. I'm still thinking somewhere in the Northwest, yeah.
Because a city I've been thinking a lot about recently is Flagstaff, Arizona. And I don't know why, but it just keeps coming up in my mind. I know it's a college town. I've heard that the weather is a little bit cooler than most of Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never imagined myself going to Arizona.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know anyone in Arizona either. Well, I do know a family from Arizona, but that's about it. I don't know anyone else in Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah, and it is kind of deserty, you know.
I think Flagstaff is up in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah, Flagstaff. I think Flagstaff may be the one of the places in Arizona that actually gets snow. That's
right.
Yeah.
I don't think they get a lot of it, though.
Yeah, and then Phoenix and Phoenix and other parts of Arizona are probably in where the desert is.
That sounds about right, babe.
But I don't know. I never really imagined myself going to Arizona, though.
We could do it here in the Northwest. It's a matter of convincing some of our friends that this is a journey worth joining us on. Which I think is why we set the goal for 2.5 to 3 years before we actually have this up and running.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince a very good friend of mine to move out to the mainland because I think this person would really, I think that this person would really, really gain a lot from that experience because this person hasn't, well, I think when my friend was little, she did live in other places, besides Hawaii, but I don't think she remembers it. But I really think that she would gain a lot of experience from living on the mainland.
What has she said recently about your thoughts on this?
I haven't even talked to her about that, actually. Okay. I haven't, but that would be something that when I do catch up with her, we could definitely discuss it.
Did I tell you that back in 2003, when I was part of the Poets for Peace, yes, I've been doing poetry that long.
Yeah.
And I feel like an old fuck.
Your words, not mine.
That's what I feel like, but luckily there's somebody older in the room.
Hey.
Anyways.
Hey.
We were touring the big island of Hawaii. And one night, this guy came to our show. He was a little bit weird, but he was interesting to talk to. I wish I remembered his name, but he told us this story about when he used to run a co-op. Mm-hmm. But his was more traditional. It was a housing one. So one big house. Mm-hmm. And I think instead of single people, it involved families.
Oh, wow.
But he was talking about all the deals you were able to get because you would buy things in bulk. Mm-hmm. For example, he said that there was some grocery store that gave them a 30% discount, but they had to buy items that were just past their sell-by dates. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting story.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I've never forgotten that conversation.
Wow. And did he run the co-op by himself?
I think everybody contributed to it, but if you heard his story, from his perspective, he made it sound like he was the head dude.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did he talk about a lot of his experiences, like if he, how long he's been doing that, or?
He had already left the co-op game by the time I met him. Okay. He was in a long-term relationship with this lady who was trolling him on the internet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I don't want to say too much.
Yeah.
But he started this online relationship with somebody.
After he left? After
he left the co-op, when he's with this girl.
Yeah.
He goes online and he meets somebody. They start communicating. It's nothing sexual, but it was very emotionally stimulating.
Emotionally,
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One day, his girl calls him into her bedroom and shows him the exchanges and says, I'm so-and-so.
Oh, my goodness. Are you serious?
Well, according to this guy, he said it was a very beautiful thing and it made their relationship stronger. Because his girl didn't like to leave the house that much.
Oh, really? Yeah. So he breaks up with her and starts this relationship not knowing who it was.
No, he didn't break up with her.
Oh, he didn't break up with her. Okay.
Yeah, so they got a place together. She liked to stay in a lot. Mm-hmm. He liked to go out, and he felt like he wasn't connecting with his girl emotionally.
Okay.
He goes online. He meets somebody. They begin this emotional relationship. And then his girl tells him, hey, by the way, that's me. When she shows him the exchanges.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what that kind of reminds me of?
Tell me.
You know that song by Rupert Holmes, If You Like Pina Coladas?
Yes.
So, have you heard the words to that song, the verses?
Something about, and yoga in the pouring rain.
Kind of like that. So basically, I'll just tell you the premise of the song. You know, he was getting tired of being with this girl for a long time because he kind of felt like, well, this is going nowhere. So he puts an ad in the paper, and that's when you hear, if you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain, right?
Yep.
And then somebody answers his ad and says, if you're not into yoga and you have half a brain and blah, 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 blah. And she's trying to plan this escape with him. And so they're getting ready to meet each other. They go to I think it was a restaurant. He goes to the restaurant and he sees somebody walking in, recognizes her smile, and realizes, oh, that's my girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he said, I knew her smile in an instant, and he was saying, she said, oh, it's you, and they start talking, and they said, wow, I didn't know you like this, I didn't know you like this, and so it kind of really made their relationship better after that experience, which I thought was kind of cool.
There's this quote about art that I love, and it goes something like, great art is a lie that helps you see the truth. What do you think about that, babes?
Can you give me an example that you might think?
I mean, I didn't expect to be called out on it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You
can make the example of the person I just told you about, whose girl lied to him, but it helped him see the truth about how much she loved him.
Right.
And about how much they actually had in common. I'm trying to think of a good example. I just threw the quote out there. Well, let's say I've used that example here before. I don't want to use it again.
Okay. Which one was it?
If I tell you, it feels like I'm repeating myself.
Okay. I think I know what you're getting at.
I got a good one for you.
Okay.
You know the episode Hard Time of DS9 that we've talked about before?
Yes.
It was a lie. That episode never happens.
Right.
But it kind of helps us see the reality of PTSD.
Oh, yeah, in more ways than one.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very... I would say that this was an episode as hard as it was to watch, because it was so heavy. It was like heavier than any episode I've watched with you. But it really makes you wonder, like, a person that has PTSD, I wonder how they really feel when they experience these flashbacks.
I think a lot of DS9 is about post-traumatic stress. Because there's that obvious example, but then you think of things like Major Kira.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's got some issues as well.
Well, and then you also think about what was it? What was the captain on not DS9? The captain on TNG.
Oh, Picard with the Borg thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Captain Picard, and how PTSD affects anyone who's going through it. Whether the trauma was severe or the trauma wasn't as severe, you can still be affected by it. Well, when you're talking about what that girl did for the relationship, right?
Yes.
I think of it as her using her creativity to do whatever she could to keep the relationship together. And I thought that was really, really cool how that happened.
It's a fun story to hear.
It is a fun story.
And I was talking to that guy, that night.
Uh-huh.
We only met one time. He said to me, I really like your poetry. What do you want to do with yourself, with your poetry? And I said, I know I'm going to be one of those people who's poor and dies alone and whose art gets discovered after he's dead, and then I'm going to become so famous, and I won't even know it. I may have had a little bit more tact than that. Mm-hmm. But he looks at me and he says, well, why do you have to get a job outside of the arts? Mm-hmm. Maybe you could get a job in publishing, and it'll teach you things about getting your work out there. Mm. And it kind of changed my perspective a little bit.
Have you thought about... Here's another question.
Yeah, and then I have one for you.
Have you thought about starting like a publishing company?
No, that's a lot of work.
I would imagine.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, or I don't know how the self-publishing works because we still haven't finished our book.
Which we need to do.
Yes, because we kind of been lax on it.
Yes, we have.
And I know that I kind of forgot about it too because I had other things on my mind. But some books take a long time to write too.
I told you that I was almost done with a poetry book, right? This was about 8 years ago.
Was that for your LP or your EP?
No, this would have been several years before then.
Actually, no, I don't think you told me that.
I was thinking about publishing it. Mm-hmm. And then resistance entered my head, Jaylo.
Okay.
Because you know me, I'm a really bad speller.
Yeah.
It just is the way it is. I wish it was good. It's part of my dyslexia.
Yeah.
I can't spell for shit. So that was part of the issue. I kept saying, well, this word isn't spelled right, or is this grammatically correct? But I think what really killed it is I thought, what are the people around me going to think about me once they read this stuff? Mm-hmm. I still have most of it, though.
Well, isn't there a way that you could hire like a transcriber?
I could, but the spelling thing was combined with what are the people around me going to think about this?
But
because it was very dark, the book.
Okay. Huh. Okay. Well, my question is, have you ever gotten to the point yet to where it's like, well, I'm going to put this out there whether they like it or not?
That was with the EP.
Oh, you are? Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, but the book you weren't sure because of the spelling stuff.
Well, that was one reason. There was two reasons, babe.
Okay.
Yeah. And I kind of think I'd want to use those poems in my LP.
Okay.
So one of the plans for this year was to put out a full-length album. Mm-hmm. That got a little bit sidetracked with coronavirus. Mm-hmm. So it's delayed, but hopefully by the end of next year, I'll have a full-length album out.
I think that's a good goal.
Of poetry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question for you, babe.
Okay.
Tell me a story about a time in your life where you met somebody and had one conversation, but it changed the way you look at things.
Oh, wow. There's so many. I have to really think about that because there's so many people I met and I'm like, you know what? I really want to talk to this person again. Or I hope I see this person again, but I never did. Well, I have to think about that. I need to get back to you on that one.
That's fair, Jaylo.
Because there's so many conversations I've had that were one-time conversations that were really, really good. They may not have been about job seeking, but they were, it really made me think about maybe my outlook on life or how to treat people or what have you. I really have to think about that.
What media have you been consuming this week, babe?
The most has been YouTube, and then I've been listening to a little bit of some podcasts and the radio.
Tell me about these podcasts.
So I was watching the podcast that is put out by the Dr. Phil. The Dr. Phil show.
Okay.
So he's been. I don't know when this started. I just figured I'd search it out. And he's been putting these old episodes as a podcast. Compiling old episodes to become a podcast, just like Oprah Winfrey has.
Kind of like an audio archive.
Yes, and I kind of like those. Stuff like that.
I have been listening to Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. This week, he had on Duncan Trussell, who is my favorite regular guest on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Right.
I think has a really, really interesting perspective. And he did a podcast with his ex-girlfriend way back in the day called The Lavender Hour.
Yes.
Which kind of inspired me to start doing this with you.
Yes.
But Joe Rogan had him on and they did 5 hours the other day.
That's a long time.
It's really fun to listen to. Mm-hmm. Even though it got a little bit repetitive towards the end.
Yeah.
The following day, Rogan had on Miley Cyrus.
And I thought, wow, okay, that's interesting.
I don't listen to her music, but she was a really interesting person.
Really?
I would love to tell you that, it was a horrible interview and all my worst feelings about her were confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
But for a super rich, famous person, she seems relatively normal.
That's surprising to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's really surprising.
I've also been reading a couple of books.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this week, I discovered the book Call Your Mother by Barry Sonnenfeld.
Mm-hmm.
Sonnenfeld was the cinematographer on Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, and Miller's Crossing.
I think I heard about those movies.
I think I heard of films.
I think I heard of Miller's Crossing.
He also worked on When Harry Met Sally.
Wow.
And Throw Mama from the Train.
Uh-huh. I have seen When Harry Met Sally, and I do like that movie, but I have not seen Throw Mama from the Train.
We got to watch that at some point.
Yeah.
It's a really fun movie.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Directed by Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Yeah.
He tells a story about... He took a meeting with a head of a film studio who wanted him to move from cinematography to directing. So he decides to do it. But Sonnenfeld analyzes other people in his position who switched to those particular fields. And he realized that nobody had really been successful in making the leap. He speculated that it's because they were so good at cinematography, they were too concentrated on that part of the filmmaking aspect to really focus their attention on directing. And he realizes that the only way he could really concentrate on the job at hand was to hire one of the best cinematographers in the business. His first film is Addams Family. Starring
Christina Ricci.
Angelica Houston.
Uh-huh.
And Raul Julia.
Raul Julia, yep.
Okay. They do a script reading. All the actors are there. Sonnenfeld is there with the writer and producer. After the reading, the actors go away. Barry is hanging with his crew thinking, oh, we killed it. This is awesome. Angelica Houston comes back with Raul Julia and Christina Ricci. And they said, okay, Christina Ricci has been elected to be the person who's going to tell you the problem with the script.
Right.
She's 10 at the time.
Yeah.
Her issue with the film is the same one I have. She says to him, Christopher Lloyd is not Uncle Fester. But at the end of the Addams Family, they just agree to pretend that he is. But he doesn't have any powers.
Right.
And what happens to the real Uncle Fester?
Right.
Which I think is a great point.
That is a good point, because they obviously didn't use the original person who played Fester.
No, it's not that, but his character isn't Uncle Fester.
Right. So he is a
con man,
an imposter. Yeah. That is. See, I didn't even realize that until you told me that, and I thought she makes a really good point, actually.
But it becomes problematic because in the second film, his girlfriend tries to electrocute him.
His crazy girlfriend Debbie. Yep.
Right. And how does he not electrocute him if he's not Uncle Fester? She throws a toaster oven into the
in the bathtub.
Yeah. That would have electrocuted a normal person.
Absolutely, it would. Yeah, it was odd. It was very strange. Yeah.
So I really like this book. He also talks a lot about his mom. His mom was a horrible cook. He says that she used to just take frozen food out and throw it onto the stovetop and then go back into the bedroom and lie down.
And expect him to, or expect the kids to cook the rest of it?
He was the only kid.
Expect him to cook the rest of it?
Well, he said that some days he'd come home and there'd just be smoke coming out of the kitchen.
Oh, no. Wow. That's terrible.
He tells some crazy stories about how his mom let some guy live with them who was molesting all the kids in the neighborhood, including him.
Oh, no. That is so dangerous.
So Barry eventually confronts his dad about this when he's older and after he's made Addams Family and Men in Black.
Yeah.
His dad says, look, It wasn't there wasn't a stigma on it at the time, and I was with other women, so your mom needed somebody to keep her company.
Okay, that's a horrible excuse. And it should not be condoned what she did to him.
She didn't do it, her friend did.
Well, her friend.
But
okay.
She knew what was going on.
That's horrible.
Okay, so eventually his mom dies.
Mm-hmm.
Then sometime later his dad passes away.
Right.
We hear about his father's funeral and how there's this huge line of people who go up to the mic. I'm sorry. No, I'm getting the story a little bit wrong. It's his father's 90th birthday.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
I think his dad might actually be still alive. So much I know.
90?
Well, his dad's older now if he is still alive. Anyways, there's this huge line of people who all go up to the mic and talk about how his dad and his mom were the most important people in their life. They only felt comfortable talking to them and getting advice for them. He wraps the book up by saying, this is to tell you that they were great people, they were just horrible parents.
Wow.
It was a fun read.
Okay.
What do you think of what I just told you?
I think it's kind of sad that they could be normal to other people, but not treat their own son with dignity. Not treat their son like he mattered. I think it's pretty sad, honestly.
Yes.
It's sad that there are people in the world that can act one way around certain people, and then around you or whoever that's the closest to them, they can just treat them like they're a second-class citizen. It's sad. It really is.
Do you think that, in a way, that speaks to the contradictions that lay in all of us?
What do you mean the contradictions that lay in all of us?
Well, it's like, I'm a great poet, but I'm a really bad speller. I'm technically a bad writer, but I've moved people with my poetry. Or how... it makes it sound like I'm blowing my ego out of control. I've been told by people that I give really, really good advice. But as we've learned from earlier in this episode, I have a lot of my own shit to deal with.
I think it really depends on each person, I guess. I don't know I don't know that we all have I don't know that we're all contradictory. But do you admit that there are areas in your life that you could be working on when it comes to emotional stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you do admit it.
Yeah.
It's one thing for a person, I really feel like the most contradictory thing you can do is say that you're one thing, but then you don't admit to your own stuff. You don't admit that you are still a flawed person outside of that. You don't admit that you have things to work on. That's what I think is contradictory.
Okay.
That's how I feel about it. So, I don't know that you are contradicting yourself because you have admitted to people about not being a good speller. Am I right?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't like you were being dishonest.
No.
So I don't think that you were being contradictory.
I think there's a difference, though, between being dishonest and having these contradictories. I think we have these things in ourselves. Each person, there's sort of this duality of they're great in some areas and horrible in others. And sometimes those two areas,
overlap?
Yeah, overlap.
Yeah. I don't think it's always the case, though.
Really?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't I don't think that's always the case all the time.
Very good.
I think that it's more prominent in some people, but they just don't want to admit it. Because there are some things in my life that I know that I could work on, but I'm not hiding it from people.
That's good, babes.
It would be very dishonest and very contradictory because people would. Well, I mean that would make you two-faced, I think.
I think you're right, babes.
Right, that would make you two-faced. So
maybe it's people can be contradictory, but there's a difference between that and being a hypocrite.
Absolutely, yes,
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, there's one thing to show total hypocrisy on your part, but there's another thing to where you say, well, I'm good in this area, but I'm not so good in this area. And it's kind of a strange thing, but it's true. Yes.
Okay, so I did read a second book this week that I want to tell you about.
Okay.
But before we get to that, I want to ask this question before I forget about it.
Oh, goodness.
When we were waiting outside,
Yes.
we were holding hands, and I made the comment to you that, one, I find it strange that you know people who don't, get it on before marriage, but also that you also know people who don't have any physical contact before the minister says it's okay.
Yes, I do.
So
this is a weird segue.
Okay.
But go on.
It is because
This is a very weird
I wanted to ask this question before I forgot, and I knew if I didn't ask it, usually I would go into the second book and then do this, but I felt if I didn't ask us now, I'd forget it, and then I'd remember as soon as we stop, and I'd be hating myself for the rest of the day. So, run me through this. Does that mean at like the end of the first date, instead of a kiss, they shake each other's hands, or is there not even that form of contact?
Okay, so I don't know. I didn't know this couple before they got married, so this is something that I'm just telling you because of what people have told me. There are couples, and I would imagine that maybe they may have been that kind of a couple, but there are couples that would not hold hands until they were engaged.
Wow, not even holding hands.
No, which I think, in my opinion, that's a little too extreme, because I think if you are dating, you have to show some form of affection, whether it's holding hands or sitting with your arms around each other's shoulders to show that you guys are together. Because all right,
stop. So, I think,
and I wasn't finished.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, and I don't know. I didn't know this couple until they were married with kids, but from what I understood, they both came from Christian homes, and they decided together that they weren't going to engage in a lot of physical contact because they wanted to preserve themselves they wanted to save themselves for marriage, which I understand where some people would be like, okay, that's great, but then what about hugging? What about shaking? What about holding hands? I mean, and I'm trying to understand that. Myself, personally, I couldn't date someone if I wasn't able to hold their hand at least or hug them.
Yeah, do other stuff. But
other stuff.
My question, we do other stuff. But my question to you, babe.
Other stuff.
Okay,
wait.
In case your parents are listening, we don't do anything else except hold each other's hands. And when we pretend to kiss each other, we're not really doing it. And I am a Christian, and I only play this character so we have something to talk about. This is all fiction. But...
Oh, jeez.
No, but my thing is, babe...
Yeah.
To me, that sounds like they may have like a hormonal imbalance. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I think it was a choice that I think that is a choice that there are couples that make that choice together because they are they want their relationship to be honorable, and so in order for that to happen, they want to make it so that it doesn't look to other people in public as something that was disgraceful.
You don't think that means that their hormones are off?
No, I don't.
Wow.
No, I don't. There are probably a lot more people that you haven't even met yet that are not doing that.
not even holding hands until they're engaged.
Well, I don't agree with that at all.
So
I think it's a little too strange.
What do you do at the end of the first date then? Do you high five? Are you allowed to high five each other?
I don't know. I never talked to them about it. There are people that thought that they were a little strange for not doing that. I would imagine that maybe what they didn't do was I just don't know how that works, because if you're going to show someone that you're with this person, how would they know that you were with this person? That's the one question I always wondered, is how would they know if you were with this person if you wouldn't do so much as hold their hand or wrap your arm around their shoulder or something. I don't know. I don't understand that, because there's a difference between being really good friends and being a couple.
I got a question for you, babe.
If I wasn't embarrassed enough. Okay.
Well, we just said we don't even hold hands, and whenever we talk about stuff...
Bubs, you were just joking.
Okay, but here's my question for you, babe.
Okay.
I know you weren't there on their wedding night.
No, and I don't really know them very well,
actually. I know, but I'm going to ask you a question. In your opinion...
So embarrassing.
In your opinion, do you think that they did it, had sex on their wedding night, or...
What?
I'm asking you a question, babe.
Okay.
Or do you think that they just, made out on their wedding night? Because it was such a leap from holding hands.
I don't know, and I don't care. I don't ask them these questions. I don't even talk to them anymore, so it doesn't really, I don't care, honestly.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
I don't. Now, I have met couples that have gotten remarried, and they had ex-husbands and ex-wives in the past, but they did want to do things right for their relationship, and that's a little bit different than someone who's never been married and wants to wants to not be so affectionate until they're engaged or until their wedding night.
Okay, one more question. I hug my friends.
Yeah.
Right? I'll hug my male friends. I'm not gay. I love gay people, by the way. So it's not like I'm not saying I hate gay people.
I don't know why you had to really mention that.
No, I'm going to tell you why.
It doesn't really matter.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm not gay.
Okay.
Completely cool with it. But if, let's say this couple saw me hugging one of my male friends, would they think, oh, that's a sin against humanity, or?
Well, if you're kissing the guy,
I wouldn't be kidding. But let's just say I was hugging one of my male friends, hey,
well,
bro, what's going on?
Yeah, but if it wasn't there's a lot of guys that are huggers, and they hug men and women.
Right, but this couple didn't even hold hands until they were engaged.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because you're not going to meet them.
But if they did meet me, do you think that they think of hugging my male friend as a sin?
Well, first off, I don't know that they would, because if they didn't know that your friend was gay, I mean, hugging a
I do it with gay and straight friends.
Okay, so hugging a male friend, I don't think would be a bad thing, because I would hug. I mean, I went to school with people that were gay and lesbian, and
so progressive, Alana.
What?
Keep going.
Would you stop?
Go ahead.
You're not being very nice to me.
No, keep going. All right, let's kiss.
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
You either let me kiss your
Rick's
lips.
not being nice.
You can either let me kiss your lips or another part. All right, so you were saying go ahead. You went to school with gay people.
Well, what I mean, why I said that was I didn't want you to make it seem like I was homophobic or anything.
Okay.
Not that it matters. I mean, I'm not a homophobic person. I would hug anyone if they were male or female that was gay or straight. It doesn't matter to me.
But you don't think your friends, the ones who didn't even hold hands until they were engaged, you don't think that they would?
So I don't. Okay, so let me just give you a little context.
Go ahead.
I don't know exactly what they didn't do or did not do, right, or did do or did not do. I don't know if they didn't hold hands. I was under the impression they didn't have a lot of physical contact with each other.
Wow.
I was under the impression that they weren't very affectionate with each other until it was right time.
But based on knowing them, if they saw me hug somebody
Yeah.
They wouldn't necessarily think he's sinning against God or anything.
No.
Okay, good.
Well, I mean, if you were kissing the guy, that would, on the lips, they would probably wonder, what's going on there.
No. I usually just, pull it out and let my friend...
Okay.
I'm joking.
Bubs.
Sorry, babes. That's a joke. That would be cheating on you, and I'm straight.
Well, I hope so. I don't know about after this podcast episode.
No, I'm straight, babe.
I'm very straight, too.
I'll show you afterwards.
No, I already know that.
All right.
I already know that.
So... I thank you for answering my question to the best of your abilities.
But having answered all of those weird and embarrassing questions, I think that there are a lot more people that have really put some thought into that, and I don't think it was taken lightly.
To me, I think their hormones are probably a little bit out of whack.
I don't think so. I don't think it's as simple as that. They wanted to please God, and they wanted God to be the center of their relationship, and because of that, they wanted their relationship to be honorable, and they didn't want people to think that they didn't want anyone to what do you call it? Not that they didn't want anyone to not that they really cared about what anybody thought. I guess I should rephrase that. They wanted an honorable relationship. They wanted a chaste relationship, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think that the world has glorified and perverted sex so much that now people are so desensitized to it, and it's a wonder. And it's no wonder why people think that couples that take a stand like this are not doing the right thing. And I think it doesn't surprise me, but I think it's kind of sad. Because I think instead of worrying about other people's relationships, they should worry about theirs.
Yeah, I was just curious. And when we were holding hands today, it made me think about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I didn't really want it to be out in the open where everybody could hear.
But I tried to talk to you about it earlier today, and you're like, I don't want to talk about this right now, okay?
That was when we were waiting outside,
yeah.
and it wasn't like, you were quiet about it. It was... people could have been walking by, and that's why I said, "Can we just talk about this later?"
That's okay, babe. I still love you, babe.
But I mean, they have a different mindset. It doesn't mean that their hormones are out of whack. Just because you think it's odd, it doesn't mean that it's abnormal.
Okay, babes.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, babes.
We
can move off this if you want.
Thank you.
I read a second book this week.
What is that?
Joe Rogan has been reading...
It's Joe Rogan again.
I know, everything goes back to Joe Rogan. He's reading this book called Irresistible by Adam Alter, and I know about that because he talked about it on both the Duncan Trussell podcast and the Miley Cyrus episode. Mm-hmm. So I picked up Irresistible. It's a book that focuses on addiction,
right?
But it mainly focuses on people who can't give up their addiction to the internet and gaming. It was really interesting. They told a story about this kid who was very, very smart and also athletic. He got accepted into some Ivy League school, I want to say in Washington, D.C., but I could be wrong.
Wow, okay.
He was doing really well, but he started playing World of Warcraft, I believe.
Wow.
And one time he went on this 5-week binge where he just played. And this is after he had already relapsed once.
Wow.
And gone to this internet gaming rehab center called Start Over in Seattle. Mm-hmm. And after his 5-week binge, his mom comes over. He tells her what's up. He goes back there. He gets out and realizes that he can't go back to the environment where he was at. They have an outpatient program which lasts for 7 months. He takes it. He's by the center. He decides to move to Seattle and eventually buys a gym and ran it and was doing fairly successful.
Wow.
Yeah. It says in the book that Steve Jobs would not let his kids have an iPhone or an iPad.
Wow, really?
Yep. It talks a lot about addiction and how behavior plays a big part in it.
Yeah.
So removing people from an environment will sometimes cure their addiction. They use the example of soldiers in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Apparently, a lot of them had a problem with heroin. Uh-huh. But when they returned back to the States, something like 95% of them were able to successfully beat their habit, according to this book, because they were away from the environment of war that inspired that habit in the first place.
Right.
I really liked it.
So speaking of addiction, I remember, I don't know what show this was, but they were having this, this show was showcasing an interview with these two people that were addicted to something. I can't remember what it was. It might have been drugs or what. And they went to like this addiction center. But the weird thing about it is that they had like all the most addictive foods you could think of.
I've heard that.
Donuts and things like that. And I'm like, how is that supposed to help a person who has an addictive personality?
What I've heard, the rationale I've heard, and I don't agree with it, is that the focus is getting you off drugs, and you have to replace it with something. So food in that moment is considered better than heroin or cocaine. That doesn't mean I agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get them off of drugs, at least, I'm thinking that if you really want to get them better, at least have the addiction center on like an organic farm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're getting vegetables, fruit, grass-fed beef or chicken or whatever have you, because you're not just getting their entire system detox of drugs, but you're also putting whole foods into their system, which is really good for their bodies.
In the book, Alter talks about giving yourself rewards. Mm-hmm. So it's not just enough to quit something, but people make the mistake of just thinking it's that, and they don't realize that you have to replace it with something that's just as good. So I believe he says, don't just quit chocolates. Mm-hmm. Every time you want chocolates, do a little bit of exercise and your body will feel better. If you want to quit gaming, maybe say, okay, I'm putting $50 into an envelope. Mm-hmm. And if I spend more than an hour on video games this week, that money is going to go to a cause that I despise. Mm-hmm. However, if I stay within these limitations, at the end of the week, I'm going to use that $50 and I'm going to do something really nice for myself that does not have to do with gaming.
Okay.
It's a good book.
Yeah, I heard of like food replacement. Like if you're addicted to, I don't know, something sweet. It could be chocolate. It could be something else. You could replace it with something good like almonds. Because I heard almonds is supposed to be good for that.
Interesting.
Almonds or some kind of nut. But I wonder how it is for food addiction, because there are some people that just cannot stop eating. Because you do need food to fuel for your body, as fuel for your body. But I wonder what they do for that.
You have to work a lot on moderation.
No, I mean for food addiction.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. You have to work on moderation because you can't quit it. But you have to reduce it.
Yeah.
So you have to teach people techniques to moderate your eating habits instead of ending them.
What I thought, and we've talked about this yesterday, what I don't like is when I hear people on, I don't know, commercials or what have you, saying that addiction is a disease. And I think you agreed with me about that I think that some people use addiction as a crutch and they just say, oh, it's a disease and I'm sick.
It's a real thing.
It is real,
Having said that, there are tools to help you get over it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And so it may be a disease, but maybe it's a disease that's curable. If you leave your environment, if you change certain habits,
Well, I mean, when I think of diseases, I think that a lot of them are not self-inflicted. I mean, maybe things can contribute to it, but it's usually diseases are not self-inflicted.
Right. To give you a little bit of pushback, though, let's say it's a disease, but it needs to be triggered, right? So let's say cancer, let's take lung cancer.
Okay.
People typically get this who smoke a lot, right?
Yes, it definitely
Right,
causes lung cancer.
But if you don't smoke at all in your lifetime, your odds of getting lung cancer are severely reduced.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean once you've gotten lung cancer that you don't have a disease. So,
What?
okay, if you don't smoke at all, your odds of getting lung cancer are very low.
Yes.
So let's take somebody who smoked for 40 years. They get lung cancer. They have a disease at that point. You're not going to say, "Oh, your problem is addiction. This isn't a disease. Take the cigarette out of your mouth." It's too late for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let's say I'm addicted to chocolate. Right? If I was never introduced to chocolate, I might be fine.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, once I have that first bite, it lights up something in my brain. It messes with my reward system, and now I have to have it.
Right.
Had I never had chocolate, I might have been fine.
Yeah.
But now that I've had it, my brain is sending the message that I need it all the time.
Right.
So I think it might be a disease that needs to be triggered by something. Just like cigarettes trigger lung cancer.
I don't know. I think the word trigger has been used a lot, though. I don't know.
What word would you like to replace it with?
I'm not sure.
Activate it?
Possibly activate, or I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't. I mean, I kind of understand where you're going. I just don't know that I don't know that I agree with you on that one.
Listen, I'm up in the air about this.
Yeah.
I think there's good arguments to be made either way. But I'm open to the possibility that it could be a disease. Okay.
Well, I mean, and I don't know. I kind of in the school of thought to where addiction has been used to use as a crutch by former addicts that are trying to get over it, or maybe they're still in it, and I just kind of have this idea that they're using it as an excuse so that they're not taking responsibility. But that's how I see it.
I see your argument very well, because I have family members who I believe use it as an excuse.
Right.
If gun to my head, if I have to say what my opinion is right now, I'd say it's a disease, but it has to be activated, and there are ways to reduce its effect on your life. You know.
But I think there's something to be said about taking a person out of an environment. Like if a person was an alcoholic, moving to a place where there's no bars. There's no bar that's within close range. Or moving to a city where it's more, I don't know how to explain it, like in the country or something. I don't know.
Well, there's such things as moonshine. What I would say is move them out of the place where their habit started or where their habit has grown.
Right.
And take them to a city where they can be surrounded by supportive people.
What does moonshine have to do with that? That is
because
alcohol.
If you're living in the country, why couldn't you just make moonshine?
Oh, that's true. It's like a really strong drink.
Yes.
What I want to know is if a person is a major hoarder, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder how because when they move places, what a lot of hoarders do is they put the same stuff back into their new place. And I wonder how, I know that a lot of hoarders go through this thing where I have to save everything because when I was little, things were taken away from me. And I've heard that a lot, like in watching shows like that, because it's kind of interesting. But I wonder how they would get a person to make sure that when they do move, they don't take that many things with them.
Here's the way, and I'm no expert, and that it did not talk about this in the book, but my solution to something like that is going over to somebody's place, if you're going to help them, and you're serious about it,
yeah,
and saying, okay, Here are the things I plan to remove. I would advise you to go away while I throw this stuff out.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Have a fun time, but realize that it's going to be gone.
Right.
Throw that stuff away. Then like a week later, move them. But bring them to an environment where you know that they're going to be surrounded by loving people who are going to want to hang out at their house. Right? Because hoarders kind of, from what I understand, and I could have a little bit wrong, they like to do it in private.
Yes.
Right? So if they're in the light, by always having to have people come in and out of their house, they're less likely to hoard.
Right.
So
exactly.
bring them into an environment where it requires people to be in their space a lot.
And they don't, so that they would be less inclined to hoard.
Yeah, but also an environment where people are understanding about their situation so they can talk about it.
That's
so
actually
it's not just that they're being shamed
Right.
by having people enter their house, but they can actually express their addiction.
Yeah, and they feel like they're understood. Yeah, actually, that might be a good solution. Yeah, it's just some things I've been thinking about. And I myself am not a hoarder. I've never grown up being, in a family of hoarders. I can't even imagine being a child growing up with two parents or one parent that just hoards a lot of stuff, whether they're a messy hoarder or a clean hoarder. I mean, it's hard to invite people over. There's nowhere to sit or sleep. I remember watching this episode of, I forgot what show it was. It might have been Hoarders, where this lady didn't have a place to sleep. So there were things that were in her, this lady could not take a shower in her bathtub, in her shower. So there were things that were in that area where she's supposed to shower. And I thought, wow, that is really dangerous. Because you really, you're using the bathroom as a place to hoard stuff when you really need to use it. I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
It is, babes. It is.
It is.
Yes. Do you see yourself getting back into the reading game anytime soon?
I do. I've been very lax on it. I know I need to get back into it. I think what needs to happen before I upgrade things is I really want to empty things out. Because
on your computer, you mean?
Yes. I want to empty things out, remove some programs just so that I prepare my computer and if at all possible, get extra RAM. I don't know if you have extra RAM on yours. I'm not sure how that works.
Is that a street trick, extra RAM?
No, extra RAM is RAM for your computer.
Oh, I'm joking, babe.
It's a bad joke.
Okay, keep going.
Bad joke, Bubby.
Keep going, babe.
Nobody's laughing.
Okay, you are.
Except for you.
Keep going. That's what's important here, Joel. Keep going.
Whatever. So I want to do that before, and hopefully soon. I want to get this. I want to get my computer upgraded because I haven't read it all this summer. I've kind of put the brakes on it. I think it might have been since February.
Maybe.
I don't even remember. It's been that long.
Oh.
But I want to. I will.
Good, babe. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, and it gives us more stuff to talk about, too.
Yes.
Yes. Jaylo.
Yes.
Tonight's movie night.
Yes.
Tell me your predictions.
Worries?
Your excitement level. Go ahead.
Well, I've never seen Joe versus a volcano, and I heard really good things about the movie. You said you liked it?
Yes. It's not the funniest movie, but it's a good movie.
And I really want to show you A League of Their Own, because I thought that was a really fun Tom Hanks movie. Yes. And you have not seen... Oops, I'm sorry.
Oh, you keep knocking the quote out of my hands, okay?
I'm sorry.
That's right.
So, and then tomorrow, we're going to watch Inner Space and You Got Mail.
Yes.
And you haven't seen You Got Mail, and I think it's a fun movie.
I saw parts of Inner Space. You keep hitting.
I'm sorry.
That's right. When I was 6 years old.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be kind of new for me. Now, I will say, when I read Martin Short's memoirs a couple of years ago, he said that he thought that Inner Space was a good movie. At least that's what I remember.
Yes.
Him saying.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Even though it may not have been the best movie ever.
It'll still be fun. I know that Steven Spielberg was an executive producer on it.
Oh, okay. Well,
who knows what that really means? They may
Yeah.
have just asked him to put his name on it, or he could have been involved and given really good notes on the pictures. But
Steven Spielberg has produced a lot of good movies. Though.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
But even he said that some of those movies are just people ask him to put his name on it so they'll get some prestige.
I forgot. Did he produce Jurassic Park?
He directed it.
Oh, directed it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I remember seeing Jurassic Park for the first time as when I went on a field trip with my 7th grade class.
Nice.
And we spent like the day. I think we took like an intermission and then ate our lunches and then went back to. Or no. I think we saw the movie. We took a break. I think we ate our. We finished the movie, ate our lunches, and then we went home. So it was kind of fun. We went to the this movie theater.
Do you remember which one?
The Cinerama.
In
Hawaii. Yep, the Cinerama. Have you heard of it?
I have.
Yeah, we went there to see Jurassic Park, and I think it was like an IMAX. It was, remember when IMAX was really big?
I do.
I think they made it as an IMAX film, and so that it was like extra. The film was like in 3D, I guess, and it must have been really cool to look at from my friend's perspective.
It was a fun movie.
Yeah. Some parts were scary, but yeah. Yes.
Did you have any weird dreams last night, Jaylo?
No, why?
No,
Why are you asking me like that?
I don't know.
You kind of scared me for a minute.
Oh.
Your voice started to your voice started to project a little bit. I don't know why that is.
I'm just having fun, babes. What about this week? Any dreams to talk about?
I think I did tell you a dream the other night, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh.
I don't remember, actually. I don't.
Very good. When we finish this, I want to show you the sequel to a Deep Space Nine episode that I think you might enjoy. It's called The Ties of Blood and Water, and it follows Kira as she reconnects with the man, the Cardassian, who thought that she was his daughter when she was...
Oh!
Yep.
That one. Really? I didn't know there was a sequel to that one.
There is. I maybe you call it a continuation, but...
Yeah, it's a continuation of that storyline. Wow. Really? Yeah, that was I remember that. That's right. He thought that she was his daughter, yes.
I think you're going to like this episode. But it is kind of sad.
Oh.
Yes.
And I remember he changed her name, right?
Yes.
He called her a different name.
Because that's what he thought that she was.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yes.
But
Yes.
okay, I think the father meant the dad, Kira's supposed dad meant well in some ways, but I don't think he...
You'll have to see, okay.
We'll have to see, okay.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we had a really, really good episode.
Yes. There's one thing I did want to ask you.
Uh-oh. What is it now?
As I re-listened to our show,
Yeah.
I noticed that I use a lot of the same words over again.
As do I.
Is it distracting when you listen back?
No, because I'm too busy worrying about what I said.
Okay, good.
Because I'm like, ooh, I didn't sound very articulate, and sometimes I don't think I do.
It really came to light to me today when I was telling the story about the guy I had the conversation with.
Okay.
And that was partially because I didn't know his real name because it had been so long since we met.
Yes.
And I knew the character that his girl played online, but I didn't want to say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know I was saying he and his and her a lot.
That's okay. That's you're using you're using the right words to describe it, because I mean, it doesn't bother me. I'm just more critical of my own thing, you know.
Okay, good.
Because I don't think that there are times where I don't think I articulate myself as good as you have.
Thank you, babes.
I think that at times I think I'm the last person that's articulate, but that's, you know, we are our own worst critics, right?
Yes, yes. And the last thing I wanted to ask you for now.
Yes.
We're not going to do this today, but at some point in the future, would you consider recording yourself playing flute so I could share it with some of my friends?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly, yeah.
That's all I needed to know, babes.
Okay.
All right, babes, I think we should kiss.
I realized something.
Tell me.
We've been closing out our episodes with kisses. I think it's kind of cute, actually.
Yeah, we could do it with blowjobs.
No.
Or we'll stick with the kisses for now.
No.
Give me a kiss because you're upset now. Hi, babes. Anything else you want to say?
Disregard all the vulgar stuff that Rick has mentioned.
Remember,
in this
Alana's parents. I'm playing a character.
You're not playing character.
We study the Bible. That's what
No, we don't.
I'm trying to get
I do.
this
I've been trying to.
into the Lord.
You know what? I have been trying to study the Bible with him, and that'll take a miracle.
I could get a head injury, babe, and then I'll be into it.
No. I think you'll be fine.
All right, babes. Anything else? Are we good?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Want to watch DS9 now?
Yes.
All right.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.